So Twiggy, which, as the title suggests, is a documentary about Twiggy, directed by Sadie Frost. Twiggy, I imagine most people know, but for those who don't, she became an icon in the 60s. She was named Face of the Year by the Daily Express in 1966. She was on the front page of Vogue and Tatler by the age of 17. Here's a quick clip and a quick taste of the documentary.
And I met her, and I thought, oh my God, she's got this fabulous Cockney accent.
Twiggy wants some tea.
Oh, I'd love this Frederick to make me a cup of tea.
Which was very unusual in those days.
My dear girl.
I don't know if you heard her laugh, but she has a laugh that is like a truck driver's laugh. That's her laugh. It's coming out of this beautiful girl.
Oh, it cannot be nice.
Do you feel out of place because you started from ordinary working class beginnings?
No, why should I?
So the documentary charts her career from working class girl to international celebrity, from model to actress to dancer to singer and much more. And as you heard there, it's a wealth of archive footage, and then interviews with Dustin Hoffman, very distinctive voice in that clip, Brooke Shields, Joanna Lumley, Stella McCartney, Robert Powell. The interesting thing about the documentary, which I enjoyed very much, is firstly, it is possible to forget just how much Twiggy did in her career, how much she achieved on stage, on screen, on television, in the cinema, on record. Have you seen Ken Russell's film of The Boyfriend?
I don't believe I have.
It's a wonderful movie. He made it immediately after The Devils, and she stars in it, and she is fantastic in it. And she's actually got a cameo in The Devils, as it happens. But the really interesting thing is Ken Russell, who is, everyone knows, Ken was a friend of mine, but I was always in awe of him, always starstruck by him. Ken did not suffer fools gladly, or indeed at all. And Ken's respect for Twiggy was enormous. He just thought she was absolutely brilliant. And she is fantastic in The Boyfriend. She comes out of this documentary really well. She comes out as someone who was very down to earth, but also really genuinely talented. Obviously, Sadie Frost has firsthand experience of what it's like to be in the kind of glare of the public gaze. And this doc does a great job of telling the story of what it must have been like to be in the middle of all of that. But it does kind of feels like it gets to the heart of its subject. I mean, some of success is fabulous, some of it's hard, some of it's clearly very sad. There's a clip that I hadn't seen before of Woody Allen, in inverted commas, interviewing Twiggy. And Woody Allen comes out of it really badly. He's patronizing, and he asks her, who's your favorite philosopher? And she's like laughing. She goes, I don't know, who's yours? And he comes out of it really, really badly. Sadie Frost, obviously has made documentaries before. She's made Quant before. She's clearly a talented filmmaker. She also clearly has, very, very good contacts. And I think that what you get from this is a very good portrait of, as I said, what it must have been like to be in the middle of it. There are so many moments that are really charming, not least of which is the story of when she first discovered that David Bowie had sung her name on Drive-In Saturday. Because, he said, and she smiled like Twig the Wonder Kid. And she talks about running down the record shop because David Bowie had said her name, and she didn't even know what the name of the record was. And then she got it, and she came back and she played the 45 in which he's singing her name. And then, of course, she ends up on the front cover of Pin-Ups. There's a whole story about how the front cover of Pin-Ups happened, which I didn't know anything about. So, it's about fashion and celebrity and pop and all the rest of it, but it's got a lot to say about British class structures, British politics, gender politics, about the world in which Twiggy lived. And with several generations of change, obviously. Never feels heavy-handed, and like its subject, it feels really honest and heartfelt, and I enjoyed it very much. So a great subject, and I think a very, very good documentary about a great subject.
And a cinematic release, is that?
Yeah. I mean, we always have this discussion about, documentaries. It is true, with certain exceptions, they'll get cinematic releases, but obviously streaming is the natural home for them. But I saw this on the big screen and I really enjoyed it, because obviously so much of the footage is fantastic. You want to see it on the big screen because the point at which Twiggy became Twiggy, it was one of the grooviest periods in British history, but also one of the most interesting periods in British history.